when I work with a person, I use it as an opportunity to try to help other aspects of the family structure. So if you're working with a teen boy, for example, which is probably the most common thing that people would come to me for, then, and usually maybe a mom who is bringing them in, I would leverage the opportunity of working with that young man to then work with his mom to try to give her some of the game. So like you said, it would distill and trickle down to what we're doing with that particular young person. So trying to hit both at the same time. I'm telling him to do these things and we're guiding and providing a lot of guidance in this particular area. It really helps and benefits if you're making sure you're doing this too, because that way it's congruent.
Yep.
Right? You're asking him to give you this and you're making sure you're giving this in return. You're right. You're right. That does make sense. And that will help strengthen your relationship with him. And then he'll probably be less defiant. He'll probably be more compliant with you because he can tell that you're being more genuine and open and honest with him. Right? So I try to leverage both. Like if you kind of give me the door of the teenager, then I'm going to leverage that relationship to also help you, because I know a lot of times that's where the friction comes in between the parent and the child. They're like, I don't think you're listening. I don't think you understand. I think you're shutting me down. I think you're being too judgmental, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I very much try to use both, because they sometimes, maybe you've had this experience. They'll bring them in like, you're the problem.
Yeah.
Like if I bring them in there, we just need to fix them. And I'm trying to turn the table. It's like, ma'am, sir, maybe these are some of these things you can do as well to really support what you want me to address with your son or your daughter.
Yeah. And for disclosure, for my internship, I had interned at a place that was a residential facility for teens. So these parents normally were middle class, upper middle class, rich, would send their kids off to a state that they're not from, and sometimes within the state. So it was loose. So it's the best way to describe it. Like, I'm trying to keep it PG-13.
No, I get you.
It'd be like, all right, we're from Utah. All right, we're coming down to Disney for a family vacation, and these kids not knowing any better, they're just keep continually going south, and then they end up at this residential place, and it's like, what? And it's like, yeah, surprise intervention. And all right, cool, I'll see you in like 3 months in the middle of your sophomore year or your junior year or whatever. And then when you come back, you'll be fixed and we can go live in our happy family without you using drugs, while we don't work on anything. And that works out wonderfully. That's sarcasm.
No, of course. No, of course. Listen, I'm with you. I hear this stuff too, so I'm with you. I've definitely had my fair share of, I would say, delusional thinking. That to me, a teenager, still a child, they represent the family structure. There's one thing my dad used to always say to me. I've sort of interpreted it in a therapeutic sense now. He used to always say, "You represent me anytime you walk out of this house." Wow. Like, you literally have my name, but more importantly, you represent our family. And so don't disappoint. But he didn't give me more context behind that. As I've gotten older, because I'm going to speak to exactly what you were just saying there. The way I would sort of interpret that is, to me, your child or a child represents that family dynamic and that family structure. So if the child is very reckless, if they're very aggressive, if they're very hostile, there's largely a lot of that happening in their house. That's where they got it from, right? Because children usually observe and then we imitate what we see, because that is what has been normalized to us. So then if a kid comes in here and he's ready to fight and cursing and screaming and doing all this stuff, there's a good chance they're seeing a lot of that at home. Doesn't mean it's always the case. There, of course, are exceptions. Some people come from lovely homes and they just happen to be so conflicted internally that they create a lot of chaos, right? But largely, that's not what I have seen. It's usually they're reflecting where they came from. So if you put all the onus on the child and say, you're the problem, let me fix you. I brought you to him. Let me bring you to Jay. He's going to take care of you. We're going to send you back and everything's going to be fine. It's like, ma'am, sir, there's other issues that are going on. Your child is just helping illuminate and illustrate part of what's going on. I need you to have some level of accountability here. I don't know if you would
work with parents that they're putting their kid in therapy, and as a result, it's like, oh, I need to go to therapy too, and that's wonderful. And it's like, hey, I'm asking you to do this. I have to be able to, the medicine that I'm doling out, I have to be able to take myself.
Love
And
that.
they're both working with different professionals and working on their own stuff because they realize like it's not just the kid. Maybe there's something that's coming off of me that is affecting our home environment, and let me
Yes.
figure that stuff out.
Absolutely, man. And I will say in my time, like more on my own solo practitioner, I've spent a
Mhm.
lot more time actually inadvertently working with families because I end up again, somebody will bring like the
Mhm.
teenager or the young man, and I end up working with the mom. I end up working with the dad too. Because I'm helping trying to be the bridge in terms of the communication gap that exists. Like this one talks at this one's not listening. So trying to, really help to formulate a stronger connection where we can communicate more effectively and more clearly. So I see the value in being able to do that, but I love the point you're making. It's like we're not putting all the responsibility on the young person and saying they're truly the problem.
Yeah.
In my experience, they usually represent and reflect what is going on at home. So that means all parties might need to be doing some work if we want the family as a whole to flow and function better.